cutting out my waist darts, okay? Or let me do like this. Since we are creating our shoulder dart, our concentration is on the shoulder dart. So I want to show you what makes it a shoulder dart before I cut out what I have on my waistline. So I just come to this midline, which is the shoulder dart. I'll come there and I'll cut to the bust point. I will stop. Then the bust dart will be open and transferred to the shoulder, and it becomes a shoulder dart. So this is what I'm going to do. I really need you to see how the shoulder dart is constructed. So once I lay my adhesive right here, next is to close up the bust dart and transfer to the shoulder. So when I close up the bust dart, this is what I have. Can you see that? So I'll just cut it to the, but don't cut out, just a little. Can you see? And I close up my shoulder dart. So I've closed up my bust dart, and you can see the bust dart has been transferred to the shoulder. That is what makes it a shoulder dart. Can you see that? So it has been transferred to the shoulder now. So what I'm going to do is to cut out my waist dart to that bust point, as you can see. So this becomes the shoulder dart. So when I'm sewing it now, I'm sewing this on fold, and this is front 1 and this is front number 2. So I'm cutting 2 times of this. So this is the shoulder dart right now. So if I add my seam allowances 0.5, 0.5, I'll start sewing from below. I'll sew to the bust point and I'll sew to my shoulder dart. So that is his shoulder dart for you. Then for the back is simple. You can even cut the dart, the back without a dart. So if you want to attach a flounce, it means you are attaching your flounce right here. You are attaching your flounce. So as you are closing up this, and sewing, you are sewing your flounce together. So you might also decide to put your flounce, sew your flounce first, and then you pick this and join it together like that as it is on. So to make your flounce, okay, I have a detailed video on how to make your flounces. So this is what the flounce looks like. It goes round, round, round at a particular width you need it. Okay, so that is how it is. So the particular length of your flounce depends on the measurement of what you have from here to here. That is, if you're attaching this flounce from here to here, so it means you'll be taking the measurement. I have 17 inches right here. So if I have to cut my flounce right now, I will be measuring the part, the inner part where I'm going to attach this, which is here. I'll be measuring it till I have 17 inches. So I will just decide to cut it out and measure, okay? And take away the excess I have after I have cut it out. So what we have on the thumbnail might not actually be this flounce. You can also cut your 360 degrees flare of your desired length. You can cut it in 2 places, and once you cut it in 2 places, you can join it together and sew your flare and attach. So I'm going to show you 2 ways you can go about that on the thumbnail. So first is what I have right here, which I'm doing right now, which is the flounce. So if you have drafted your desired flounce of your desired width, this is what you are going to come out with, okay? So you can see the flounce. So all I'm going to do now is to sew this flounce right here. I'm sewing it right here. If I have to sew right here, you can see the flounce is forming itself to the hem. That is, you have to measure the exact flounce. So once you sew this, after you have finished padding, next is to bring in this and sew it in between, so you have your flounce in between the dress. That is number one, using your spiral flounce to sew this. After you have added your crinoline, or if you want to sew with your peplum stay or whatever stay of your choice, then you sew everything and attach. That is number one, the spiral method. Then number two is the flay method. That is 360 degrees flay. So most of us know how to cut our 360 degrees flay. So if you are attaching this 360 degrees flay right here on this shoulder line, it means you are taking the measurement of what you have from the waist or wherever you want the dress to be. I have 17 inches. So the 17 inches I have here, I want to cut 2 360, that is 720. So if I'm cutting 2 360, it means I will divide what I measure. 17 divided by 2 will give me 8.5. Then I'll divide 8.5 by 6.28. Once I divide 6.28, whatever thing I have as my radius, this is equal to radius. That is what I'm going to use to fold my flay for one piece. I believe you understand my explanation right here. So if this is my fabric for my 360, I'm going to fold my fabric like this, and I'm going to fold it again like this, and on this particular point I'm going to measure the radius I got. Let me say I got 1.5, for example. I'll take 1.5 all around like this, and that is my radius. Then the length of the flay, I will take it from the radius at 3.5, 3.5. I'll take it at 3.5. I'll take it at 3.5. So this is it, and that becomes my flay for one. So I'm going to cut around the 360, and I'll cut out my radius. So what I have here, I'll repeat it for the second flay. Then I will open up here and join the second one. I will join the second one neatly, and once I'm done joining it, I'll come and sew. Okay, I will sew from this point like this, like that. Can you see that? Two of them I'm going to sew right here. So if you want to use the flay method, this is it, the 360 flay method, 2 times of it, which is 720. And the flounce method, anyone can work for what you have on the thumbnail. So another thing I want to talk about is the shoulder dart. What we have on the thumbnail must not necessarily be a shoulder dart. It can even be a princess dart. But then, whatever, be it shoulder dart or princess dart, it is not compulsory, because as I'm looking at the thumbnail right now, the flay is not sewn at the shoulder dart. Okay, so we have the shoulder dart on it sewn. The flay was sewn at a distance, okay, at a distance away from the bust point. This is the bust point, so you can move away like 2.5 inches. Okay, then you have your shoulder dart. Yes, you find the midpoint of what you have originally as your seam line. This is the original seam line you have, because I have that flay sewn at the center. So I'm going to measure the center of what I have. So this becomes the center, while you still have the shoulder dart. and I'm going to connect the center to that 2.5 inches I moved away. Can you see that? And then I will come in from the waist and measure another 2.5 inches, okay, and then connect it and blend it to this point. This is what we have on the thumbnail. So you can use a shoulder dart for this, you can use a princess dart for this, and it works perfectly for what we have on the thumbnail. So you come in with your flay and you will sew on this. Okay, so when you are sewing, you will sew like this. You can see how I place my flay. That is after you have joined your bustier, have done everything. You mark out this line where you want to sew your flay. You impute your flay and sew. That is, the two of them will be sewn on this line. And later you can take it this way. After you have sewn this way, you can turn it this way and top stitch on top of it. Once you top stitch on top of it, it lays as you see it right there. So if you are using the flounce, the same method, you place your flounce facing this direction, and after you have top stitched, once you top stitch on top, you can see it standing just as it is on the thumbnail. So that is how to go about that. So you can decide to sew inside your dart. You might decide to sew beside it. You might decide to have your armhole princess dart run here and then make this line and sew. So whichever way is good, is your creativity and is your style. So that is how we come to the end of this tutorial. I believe you learned a lot from this tutorial. Another thing I want to say on these flare shoulder dresses, if you want this line to continue, okay, that is, if you want the flare to continue to the back, make sure you have sewn your front body's shoulder and sew the shoulder seam line with the back. So what I was trying to explain is this: you have finished your bustier padding and you have joined your shoulder dart. So once you have joined your shoulder dart, next is to bring your back pattern and join your back pattern. I'm using this pattern as an example. So once you join them, you will be leaving it the way it is before you make this line. The line you are going to make it on your dress with your chalk. Okay, so I'm assuming this is my dress already, and I want to continue to sew this flare. It means I'll continue like this, like that, and mark my line to where I want my flare to be. So it means if you are making a 360, you are taking a measurement for the front to the point where you need it, and you cut your flare. So once you cut your flare, the shoulder will be joined the way you see, and you spread your dress without attaching the sleeve. You are going to spread the dress the way it is before attaching the sleeve, and sew this one first. This one will be sewn from one end to the other across the shoulder to the back, and then you top stitch. So that is how you are going to go about it. So, and we come to the end of this tutorial. I believe you learned a lot. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, and drop your comments on the comment section and your suggestions as well. So thank you for coming, and see you in the next video. Bye.